Hey, Dr. Bill here. So this is our second time shooting at the beautiful Hollywood Citizen Theater, and I have an amazing guest I'll tell you about in 1 second. But before I do, I want to tell you why we do this. What's LEAP? LEAP is an entrepreneurship program for high school and college students aged 15 to 25 that we have taught at UCLA for the last 16 years. What do we teach? We teach students skills to be successful in life. And the coolest thing about LEAP is that I've asked so many of my celebrity patients and business leaders to come and help, and they do. We've had Mark Wahlberg, Paula Abdul, Michael Strahan, Kathy Bates, Anthony Hopkins, Apollo Ono, Eric Garcetti, Jason Alexander. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And these people come and share the secrets of their success with our LEAP students. Typically, we get about 500 to 550 students every summer, and we literally pack them with so much information. It's like drinking from a fire hose. And one of the parts that the students love most is when we bring in these mentors. So we started this Meet the Mentor series because we didn't want this to just be a one and done week. We wanted to do it throughout the year and continue to give these students great information from great mentors to teach them how to do businesses in every field you could ever imagine. So today I have a very dear friend of mine. Her name is Alejandra. She's engaged to my dear friend Scott Painter, who many of you know from our Meet the Mentor series. He started TrueCar.com. He has a new company now called Autonomy, which is amazing, and I'll have him back on and talk about that. But Allie has a really unique business. So let me read her bio and we'll get right into it.
Alejandra Rodriguez, Chief Executive Officer and co-founder, Shroom Boom.
Alejandra Rodriguez is a leader and advocate in the health and beauty space. She was motivated by her own healing journey and began searching for methods and products that would lead to a new and better way of living for herself and the planet. Inspired by functional, nutritional, and medicinal benefits of mushrooms, she co-founded Shroom Boom to pursue her conviction about their expansive potential in promoting health and physical well-being. A native of Monterey, Mexico, she left her hometown 12 years ago to move to London, where she lived for 8 years, and then in 2017 she moved to Los Angeles, where she's staying because she met Scott. Alejandra studied business management and has worked in PR and consulting, and I welcome you to Meet the Mentor, and I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you, Bill. I'm really excited, very happy, and I was really flattered to get your call. So
no, this is going to be so exciting, and there's so much I want to dive into. But let's start first of all. Born in Mexico.
Yes.
What inspired you to leave Mexico and go to London?
You know what? That's actually unusual for a Mexican woman to do. I think I've always, really wanted a big and really full life. And I love Mexico, I love my culture, but I felt like there was an amazing world that I wanted to explore. So I was also really lucky that I had my parents' support. I left in around 2008, 2009, where safety wasn't amazing. So my parents sent me and my sisters to Europe. And we never came back.
But you grew up in Mexico,
yes.
And then you went to London. Did you have problems with the language?
No. So I was in an American school. So from age 3 and up, I started learning English. So all my classes were English. I had one Spanish class. Maybe PE was in Spanish also, and Mexican history, but everything was in English. So that's given me a huge advantage in my life. And
then once you got to London, what did you do there?
So I was studying there. I studied business management, Roehampton University, and then I had an internship where they ended up hiring me full-time. So I worked in a tech company, a software company. I worked in the marketing side, and it was a great experience for me to to be working there. I had a great team. It was very diverse. It was people from all over. You had English people, French people. You had it was such a great experience for me. And I must have been doing something well, because they opened an office in Beverly Hills and they offered, a spot here. At the time, I'd broken up from like my first serious boyfriend, so I thought it sounds like an amazing change.
Right.
And I don't think I've ever been scared of uncertainty. I moved to London just knowing my sister. I didn't know one soul, and I had an amazing time there. It was a city that was so good to me, and I didn't feel scared about moving to LA, knowing one person too here, and it's been such a great experience for me.
So you got to LA, you were working with the company that you were with in London, and then that ended, right?
That ended. I mean, it actually didn't even start, because shortly after they announced that the company was going to get acquired. But the CEO took me out to lunch once, and before they make the announcement, and he told me, as a friend, I'm gonna tell you, look for something else. So I just began talking to people, and I got an opportunity to work in PR in fashion. I got everything sorted out. I was doing management consulting for the company, and the visa paperwork, everything worked out, so I stayed there as well for a bit, and it was also a great experience, completely different space, so it was a lot of, learning new, just, a new industry, and then eventually I really wanted to start my own business.
Yeah, so, okay, how was Shroom Boom born? I know there's a great story behind this.
Well, Shroom Boom was born, a huge part of it was that, as you mentioned, Scott, earlier, having a relationship with a serial entrepreneur that's built 57 companies in his life, taken for public, there was nobody better for me to share this really big want that I had.
And I love that you actually admit that he was a mentor to you, because one of the things that has made Leap so incredibly successful over the years is the fact that we bring in these great mentors. In fact, Leap Week culminates on Friday with something we call a mentor workshop, and Scott's been there. Scott Painter is amazing, and basically it's like speed dating. The students sit at a table for 30 minutes and we rotate, and we have 100 different mentors there. So having a mentor is definitely the fastest way to success, and I don't think you could have had a better serial entrepreneur than Scott to do this. But what was the actual basis for you wanting to even form a company, around mushrooms and all that? I know you had a personal experience with that.
Yes, I've always, when I've thought about having my own business, I've always wanted, to have a mission-driven company. It also comes from a huge passion I have from health and wellness, and this passion comes from my own healing journey. So to be fully transparent, I struggled with an eating disorder for 4 years. And if you know anything about eating disorders, it's a mental disorder. So anything that is, an eating disorder, abuse of drugs, gambling, all of these things, there's something inside of us that isn't right. There's maybe an emotional void or something, and it manifests in a certain way. So my eating disorder didn't develop with anything that had anything to do with food, but it does leave, damage in that sense. I ended up having a very distorted relationship with food, and obviously my body was collateral damage. So as I was healing, it's tough to heal, because what is tough is that you kind of have to rewire your brain, because you have thoughts that are completely untrue, and your physical body just doesn't work. It doesn't work as it should, and it doesn't trust you anymore, because it's too smart, and you can't outsmart your body. So while I was healing, and I also healed through the pandemic, where there was like no access to doctors, so I had to figure out a lot of things that myself. And when I started learning about mushrooms, I started to see all the different strains and types of mushrooms that are out there. So you have functional mushrooms that aid in physical health, and then you also have magic mushrooms that help in the mental side. So as I began learning about everything that mushrooms can do, I also started learning how sustainable they are, which is something that is a necessity. So it just really hit home for me. You have functional mushrooms like lion's mane that they help for the brain. For brain health, you had chaga, that's for the gut, reishi is for longevity. And then you have psilocybin mushrooms that are used to treat depression, anxiety, PTSD. Now they're using it for trials for eating disorders. So it's something that really hits home for me. And then speaking as an entrepreneur, me and my partner started learning about the space. We saw that it's a $50 billion space. So it's quite significant.
You mentioned you and your partner. I know we had a conversation, and initially when you started to conceptualize, Shroom Boom, you realized that there were things that you really felt were in your wheelhouse, and then there were things that were outside your wheelhouse. And you credit a lot of the success of your company to bringing in a partner. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Yes, I love my partner. My partner is a genius. We have I think one of the things we're most proud about our company is it's visually very beautiful. And it is actually part of our strategy to make, we believe that beauty attracts people's interest. And that is Jennifer's brain that's just like vomited all over, our decks and the website and everything. She's so amazing. So it's something that I would recommend to everyone. Find a partner that complements you, with a different skill set, because I think it's hard to build something really big on your own.
I agree 100%. When I started Discus Dental, I actually had the luxury of 2 partners. And there's a little bit of an advantage in 2 partners in that when you have one partner, if you guys don't agree on something, where do you go? You flip a coin. The nice thing about 3 partners is it's never an even vote.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I always tell students, if you're going to start a business, either do it alone or try and find 2 great partners. And I did. Robert Heyman was a genius in marketing and manufacturing. Dave was a genius in finance. Neither of those were in my wheelhouse. I was the dentist.
Yeah.
So together, the 3 of us, it was a great team. But I'm glad you found, a single partner that could fulfill all the voids that you had in your business.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this to you, and I mentioned this to Scott back in the day when, because I founded the company myself, but as I met Jennifer and she started making all these proposals while building our brand. Scott's my mentor. I discuss everything with him. He's Jen's mentor as well. I also even consider Jen my mentor. She's been in operations for 25 years. But when he said, why don't we what do you think about making Jennifer a partner? And I was like, I'm so happy to give her half of the company, because I'd rather own 50% of something than 100% of nothing.
I get it. So can you do me a favor? If I'm a student and I want to start a company that makes beauty products or nutritional products, what were the steps that you went through at the very inception of your company to kind of get it off the ground?
I would say that the steps would be the same for probably every industry. So going back to the first things that we did was, number 1, name the company.
Yeah, Shroom Boom.
Yeah.
Now, how'd you come up with that?
That was Jen. In one of our decks of the proposals, because as she was building the brand and the look and everything, she'll think of everything. Like she'll bring you 5 different decks of 5 different looks, 5 different options. It's just it's wonderful.
And the actual purpose of the company, I know you guys haven't actually manufactured your own products yet. That's something in the works. But right now, your product line consists of beauty products, medicinal products, and what else?
Oh, I wish we could do medicinal products. We can't. It's completely illegal.
Okay, so wait till it's legal.
Yeah, I wish we could, because I'm a huge believer. I'm a huge believer in the research.
So tell me what your product line is right now.
So right now we have a marketplace. So to explain what the company is it's a content-driven platform that's built around a very compelling brand. So what we've done is we built a beautiful magazine with the purpose of creating a community and creating
education.
Yes, and creating education. What we do is we create all-inclusive content about mushrooms in beauty, health, wellness, the medicinal side. There's nothing illegal about informing people about treatments and everything.
No, for
so
sure.
We're huge believers in how it can help people in their mental health. So we definitely want to inform people about that. So we also have built a marketplace where we sell all products, functional mushrooms, and that's in beauty, food, beverage, fashion. And we don't have any sustainable products, like in terms of packaging, but we do promote them and we write about them too.
What would be, like, let's say, your top 3 biggest selling items right now?
Beauty is good. I mean,
like
we're
beauty,
working
like makeup. I mean,
creams. You know, there's a
okay.
mushroom. So the beautiful thing about mushrooms is that they're really showing up as an alternative in pretty much every vertical. So let's use beauty as an example. There's a mushroom. There's more than one mushroom, but a mushroom that's become quite popular in the beauty space as an alternative is a mushroom called tremella. So tremella helps activate collagen in the skin, and it has the capacity to retain 500 times its weight in water. So it's really good. So that's an alternative to hyaluronic acid. So there's right now a huge demand, consumer demand, on having products that are clean, vegan, science-backed, multifunctional. So, you know, then you also have, like, for example, chaga. Chaga is anti-inflammatory, and it also has properties that helps you protect your skin from the sun. So it is really fascinating what mushrooms can do and how they're showing up and how people are using them. You know, in food and beverage, they're using mushrooms as alternative to caffeine. They're using mushrooms to create foam meat that's, you know, 25 grams in protein, having 9 different of the essential amino acids. So people are getting really creative. They have products that taste good, which also is something tricky with mushrooms, because mushrooms taste sometimes a little like dirt.
Yeah.
So
got it.
So people are, you know, they're coming up with great marketing. So I think it's an amazing space, and it's getting a lot of enthusiasm right now.
And then where did the actual name Shroom Boom come from? Because I know it, like, you know, I've started up several companies. It's hard to find names that aren't taken, where you can get the website, where you can actually register it with the U.S. Patent Office. And
oh my God, you're so right. I mean, going back into the steps, the first thing was naming it. The second thing was from the formation of the company.
And the name was available, Shroom Boom?
For the domain, it was.
Okay.
And once we were able to secure it and own it, we started doing the process for protecting it and the trademarks. And we filed. I mean, but that's a long process. You know, it takes like 6 months for you to get a response.
I know. Okay. So first you got the name, then what? So
then we got the name, but actually the name was not Shroom Boom at the start. The name was Naturals. Okay. Shroom Boom was gonna be, so originally the company started as a skincare company. And Shroom Boom was gonna be, you know, like one of the SKUs.
Like a division?
Yeah, like one of the SKUs. You know, it was gonna be like a cool ingredient. And because mushrooms right now are so hyped and they're so good, we named that SKU Shroom Boom. But as we started looking at all the properties of Shroom Boom at the space, it kind of took a life of its own. So we just decided to make the company a lot bigger than what we originally intended to. You know, it's a much different strategy. It's unique in our space. We haven't found a company that does the same thing, and because of that, we've attracted, you know, quite a bit of attention, because it's a little different than everybody else in the space.
All right, so you got the name registered, then what?
We got the name. Well, you have to start building the brand. You have to then, I guess we did this simultaneously, you know, building the business model. And once we had like a defensible business model, a good, you know, branding, we started pitching. So we started pitching for money. And when you're pitching, you need to pitch intellectual property. And in our case, it was ShroomBoom.com. You know, the fact that we were able to secure Shroom Boom with like 4 O's rather than, I don't know, Shroom Boom with like 2 U's. It makes it something, you know, it makes it something that can be created, something valuable. An investor, I don't think, would, you know, invest in Shroom Boom with you, because what if somebody comes out with Shroom Boom with 4 double O's, then what do you do? So you have to have something that's, you know, quite valuable, that you can start pitching. So we started pitching. We were exposed to a great number of investors, and that's hugely due to Scott.
But there were other things. I mean, after you came up with a name, what about business license, form a LLC? Like, did you do all that on your own?
Yeah, well, yes, but we also did hire a law firm. I do think it is important to have that guidance. It costs money, but it's well worth it.
Right.
Yeah, but that came a little after, because the business license we did once we decided that we were going to be a platform that was going to be, you know, selling other people's products. And also after we decided to, you know, where we were going to be located. And we started getting, you know, a lot smarter about those specifications, because one of my first steps, and this is for everybody that's not an American citizen, I very quickly had to start my visa process. And actually, business license is something that they require. I mean, they require proof that you have like a real business. So yes, the business license did come, but it didn't come right away, because we didn't launch straight away. We started building first. So you know, you have to start building the team. And
while you're building, your real focus was on educating, you know, potential clients on all the benefits of mushrooms and the variety of mushrooms that are out there, correct?
Yes, so there's a couple of things. You know, we believe that for you to truly make a difference, it is collective work. It's not something that only our company can do. So it's you know, we believe in creating awareness about other innovators, other believers, other disruptors. So we think that by giving them the stage, they can all share their story, what they're doing, how they can benefit. But on the other side, we also give all this content and information to consumers. Anybody that's a mushroom enthusiast, that's an eco warrior. So we kind of want to help everybody, you know.
And you started the company when?
So the company was May 2021, but the official launch was June 18, 2022. That's when, you know, we had content ready when the marketplace was launched. And so yeah, it took us a second to build something quite beautiful. But
and if somebody wants information, your website's just shroomboom.com, correct?
Yeah.
If you could like wave a magic wand right now and transport your company to where you actually want it to be, tell me what that would look like.
Right now, we're really, really focused on expanding awareness. So we want everybody to know about our company. So we want to be the leaders. You know, we want to be the place where people come and learn about all mushrooms, whether it's functional mushrooms or whether it's psilocybin mushrooms. You know, we want to be an authority. We want to be a trusted source. I think, you know, this is a space that lacks knowledge. There's a huge misconception about what mushrooms can and cannot do. So I want my website to be the place where people can come in and whatever it is that they're looking for, they have enough information to feel safe about trying new things. I think that's the beauty about education and knowledge. You know, when a consumer doesn't know about something, they don't know. But once you give them information, tools, and knowledge, they can change their behaviors, and you know, they can make educated decisions about how, you know, life can be a little better.
What will be your first conception of a product that you're going to actually develop and put on your website?
So, you know, as I was mentioning, skincare. Me and Jen, we both love skincare, and it is a big dream of ours to come with our skincare products, and we're on the way.
Okay.
But it's after we have a great group of advisors and investors, and they all want to see us succeed. So we have learned that this, you know, when you're launching a product, it needs to be like a step-by-step. You're gonna have to walk before you run.
Totally.
And using skincare as an example, skincare is something that if it works, it's extremely profitable. But it's also a space that, you know, there's a lot of competition. So it requires a big investment as well. So for using this as an example, it's something that I believe it should be done at the right time. And right now we're, you know, having a huge focus on, you know, building a community, engaged customers. So we want to launch them at the right time, because the last thing we would want is, you know, make this big investment, create this beautiful product
Right.
that doesn't move, because people, you know, not enough people know they exist.
Right. The other thing I think we should talk about too is, you know, you're being an advocate for the medicinal use of mushrooms because of how much it helped you personally.
Sometimes people ask me, do you think mushrooms are for everyone? I'd say no. I don't think anything is for anyone, but I would encourage people to get smart first, and then they can decide if it's something that they want to try or not.
I congratulate you on your success. I know you're going to be even more successful. You have the greatest mentor in the world by your side, and I think you have a great product line. Yeah, I think you have a great strategy, and I'm excited to see what you come out with. If students watching this want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can email me.
Email you?
Yeah, it's Ale at ShroomBoom.com.
Okay, well, we'll put that in the show notes. Also, I want to thank the Citizen Theater in Hollywood for allowing us this great facility to film in. And if you want more information on the beautiful work that the Salvation Army is doing, please watch our little promo after this. Dr. Bill, over and out.
Love doesn't discriminate. It doesn't pick and choose. When there's so much to fight against, love fights for. When others flee, love runs toward. And when darkness prevails, love doesn't despair. It never feels too small or too weak or too powerless to help. Love knows its worth and remembers its strength. Love isn't pro this or pro that, but proactive and protective. It's never quick to rage, but always quick to courageous compassion. Love gives everything and expects nothing. For 156 years, the Salvation Army has loved all who feel lost. With your help, we'll never stop.